Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fantastical
Hi.
world of PATHCO.
Sorry, I
Welcome.
forgot that I normally interrupt the intro.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's
You
become
got
a
that
feature
just in
at this
time.
point, so I'm okay with it. It's fine. Cool. Yeah. It has been a while since we've been on air. And when we last left off, our motley crew was in Welgenrath, a port city of the dim north. In fact, the port city of the dim north. Would you guys like to remind us what exactly it is that you were doing there?
Remember, we were very underwhelmed by the novelty armaments. That's pretty much all I can remember, though.
That is true. We'd seen some of their griffin riding knights around as well, with their shining middle armor. But when we're told that we could not, in fact, hire a griffin for our own purposes, because they were kind of, what was the name of there was like a name for that, like security force monarch.
The Shining Riders.
Shining Riders, indeed.
Oh wait, am I right about that? Let me quickly check.
I knew it was shining something, but I don't think I actually wrote it down.
Then it would have been Shining Riders, yes.
And we kind of we're going around and having a look at various places inside the city, which is kind of a quite a vertical city. There's like an area in the middle, but it's kind of on two sides of this kind of big canyon type thing. It's all very cool. And I believe we were doing this whilst our ship was kind of being refueled. Is that not refueled? Like re-provisioned? Is that correct?
Yes, that is about correct. Yes.
So we've got a little bit of shore leave.
Indeed. I believe that when we left off, you guys had just visited the magic shop, the Thaumaturgy.
Yes,
shop.
I remember I bought a book, but I think that was it. Cause I got it for oh no, I've forgotten her name. Aveline. There we go. My new friend.
Indeed. Okay.
Oh yes, I think I bought a gift for Apollyon, a fire grimoire.
Oh yeah, you got it after bargain bin.
All right. Well then, at this point, you guys are either in or just outside the Thaumaturgy shop, and at this point, you guys can continue on your exploration of the town.
What time of day
Wasn't
is it?
there some kind of? Could we get the handout? Oh, hang on, we can pop our own handouts.
What handout exactly was it?
It's a Welgenrath one.
Ah, yes, I will show it to you.
I've got it up on
Here you go.
stream in case anyone is interested.
I think there was the Saint Caves. That was something that Fire had said she wanted to look at, and then we said we were going to go to. Oh, we've got an like a piece of paper or notes that had a bar on it as well, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
A beer card with the Ochre Conch gambling house.
Where had we gotten that from?
That's a good question, actually.
I remember it being somewhat pertinent, or it might have just been from.
No,
Was
in
it
fact.
Monbec?
Yeah, Monbec drew the map of the city on that for you.
Yes, cool. So I think we were potentially going to go to the Saint Caves and then finish off our evening in this gambling house.
Or afternoon.
Or at least that's I vaguely recall being the final plan, but as always, we can tweak that as needed. Thyra, what say you to these Saint Caves, friend?
It's worth a shot. You know, I'm always into expanding my mind.
To get to the Saint Caves, you can see that there is a sort of elevator system of with pulleys and ropes that takes people up and down the steep cliffside. There is a small price to pay to use these, and you see that the force that seems to be driving behind them is not, weights or something like that, but it actually seems to be pulled by undead for the most part.
Didn't we? I'm deja vuing here. Wasn't there like a little skeleton ferry or something as well?
Yeah, that's all because we went over to see the novelty armaments, and then that was underwhelming, so we went.
You crossed the. Oh, your audio is cutting out there.
It was okay. It came back again, but I was
No,
just.
okay, that's fine then. That's good. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again. But yeah, you guys use a ferry to cross between the two sides of the city, and you can now use an elevator to get to the Saint Caves.
Do we actually know what
Is
Saint
everyone
Caves
everyone
are?
coming for that?
Do we know what they are? Like, isn't that what they actually do? What's in them?
On the map, it just says the Saint Caves.
I just sort of look around for. Weren't there like some vaguely religious people wandering around?
No, I think we've already established that. No, if Thara starts moving towards to ask someone, Dave will stop her. She's already made at least one, possibly even two, social faux pas by this point.
What did I do? That was a month ago.
You really pissed off. I think it might have been the novelty armaments guy because you were like, "Oh, I want a griffin," and he was like, "Those are the religious griffins. You can't have them."
All right. To be fair, he was a dick.
Okay, let's just go to the Saint Caves. I'm sure they'll be horrible, says Dave.
There'll probably be like one of those like signs at like a 45-degree angle with like a map of it and just a whole bunch of text around the map, and we can learn from.
Oh, like a plaque.
It's national trust, I assume.
National Trust, yeah.
How much
probably
is
more
the
likely
elevator?
English heritage, actually, or Woganrath
true.
heritage.
Dim Northian heritage.
The ferry costs to go up is 2 copper per person.
How much is the up ferry?
I assume it's the
2
same.
copper per person.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the question was going to change. Answer was going to change just because you put a different voice on it.
All right. To be fair, elevators and ferries are different.
Oh yes.
I'd pay the man.
I just called it the ferry cost to get up. So the elevator cost, if you will,
Yes.
is 2 coppers.
The cost to ferry us from one place to the other.
I give him a silver piece and tell him to keep the change and pat him on his bony
Are you paying for
Or
all of
like
this then? I assume you
rotting meat.
So basically,
Yeah, no, I'm not giving him like a 180% tip.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't understand how maths works. It's very low.
It's 1/10. It scales by times 10.
If it's two copper pieces and you gave him a silver, it's a 400% tip.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Indeed. Okay, yeah. So the skeleton manning the elevator booth takes your silver coin and sort of like an animatronic almost points its hand to let you pass, and the other servants open up the little doors that allow you to step onto the elevator. As you go up, you get a somewhat better view of the city, and you see that there's a lot of like wooden cranes and things down in the dockyard area, and you can see very large ships lying there. Some of them have sails, you now notice, and you assume that these are foreign ships that make port here, and some of them do not, and you assume that these are the ships that are propelled by being mounted on large sea creatures.
Yes. Yes, I recall those being discussed. These are the dim north kind of like necromantic transport
Yes. Indeed.
vessels. Yes.
Yes, you can see that Most of them look like mercantile vessels, but you can also see some more military-looking ships, which seem to mainly be chaperones for the, like the cross-ocean traders.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that these military ships, for some of them, you can actually see parts of the creature that they are mounted on sticking out, as most of these have a sort of bony carapace-like front, which is almost like a large edge, which you assume can be used to ram enemy ships.
Oh, so kind of like a ridged narwhal like creature.
Yeah, think if you had a rhinoceros, but it was a sea beast.
Hmm. And these are about whale-sized, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
Big narwhal.
Mhm.
Yeah, Sigmund's like looks at Sikoros and is kind of secretly glad that he never had to face any of those
Yeah.
creatures on
I think
sea.
that you in particular, Sigmund, but probably Glanvar, you might also have heard stories of this. You particular Sigmund, being a denizen of sort of the Midland area, you have heard stories from wartime, which, for your youth were like in storybooks and things like that. You have heard stories about like the great monster ships of the dim north and their vampiric leaders and their terrifying anti-paladin death knights and all those sorts of things.
I'll pass this on to Dave specifically. I'll be weaving a story of sort of his known history. Some tale. I'm sure, like when he was a mercenary, he'll have had like a superior officer when he was a young man who would have fought, or at least had been very much aware of these kind of things. Maybe not fought because these were a while ago, but
yeah,
like
these wars are not recent at all.
Yeah.
But there are
But
definitely like older soldiers that they maybe had a grandparent who
Yeah.
actually fought in the war.
Exactly, and then kind of passing that information along. And I think that Sigmund probably thought that it was kind of an overblown story, and is now realizing that it's not, and is just like, oh, okay.
The elevator stops, comes to a halt, and the skeletal servants urge you to exit the elevator. As you come out, you see the entrance to the safe caves, which is a large stone arch built into the side of the cliff. And you can see that there are guards here who are wearing the armor of the Shining Riders. So,
do they have griffins, or are they just
they do not have griffins because they are sentries just standing around these caves, or at least two of them are guarding the entrance. And you can also see that because it is still somewhat day and they are vampires, they are both holding large umbrellas.
That's okay. That's actually super great. And I had forgotten that they were vampires.
Yes,
I had 100% forgotten about that part.
Yep, the most, if not all, of the sort of upper caste of the Dim North are vampires. And yeah,
So,
they are standing around here with their sort of mithril winged helmets.
Are they guards that look like they are going to bar people from entry, or are they more guards to make sure that nothing bad happens, like, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, more the latter category.
Okay, so like...
This seems to be a pretty... like, people are coming and going.
Okay, so this is someone that we
caves.
can definitely like go into and have a look around.
Yeah,
It's not some weird religious thing. Okay.
However, you do see that when people enter, there is a sort of large, not really cupboards, but more like a large storage area where you can see people leaving their scabbards with their swords. So it seems customary that you do not take weapons into this place.
Okay. Dave will point that out in case anyone else hasn't noticed. You should make sure that you leave your weapons out here. I get the impression you're not meant to take them in.
Thyra sort of nods her head and, takes the scabbard off her back, sets it against the wall, gives a nod to the guard, takes the hammer off her belt, puts it against the wall, takes another hammer off her belt, puts it against the wall, and so on.
Yes. You see that the guards sort of look at each other and one of them lifts an eyebrow, but they seem to be... This doesn't seem too out of the ordinary, especially considering that you're a dwarf. They seem to be accustomed to dwarves leaving lots of hammer-like weaponry behind, especially because clerics of Thor, of course, carry such things around.
Yeah, I mean, it's traditional, right?
Mm.
Oh, I put my shield down as well, like my big lion shield.
Right. That's a really cool shield. I should draw that sometime.
Yeah, it's basically Reinhardt's shield. That's kind of what I...
Cool. Yeah. As you enter, the...
Oh, sorry, I was just muted because there was some noise happening. But I think Sig's gonna... Sig's not super comfortable leaving his weapons down. Kind of chill outside, I think.
Right.
Just keep
Can't wait to see that conversation.
What
Dave
about
has...
you, Danvar? Are you joining the caves, or are you waiting outside with Sigmund?
Glanvar will go in. He'll leave his bow and quiver at the door.
So I think that, Thyra's just, dumped out all of these hammers. And then some more hammers. And then Glanvar's got his bow and his quiver with all the crazy arrows in. And then Dave takes out a single tiny dagger and puts that down. And then carries on in.
Look, unless you stick him in manacles, you can never fully disarm Glanvar.
That's
Oh, I
true.
just remember Dave's got a crossbow.
It is a fact that monks can never truly be disarmed.
No, unless you cut their hands off.
This is true.
On the sign by the
They'll just
door.
use their feet instead. If you
Literally
cut their hands
disarm
off.
him. And even then, I mean, there are plenty of kick styles, I assume.
And Egg, I'm guessing you've never played the game Lisa.
I've never even heard of it, so no.
I've actually seen that. It's interesting.
The main character can basically lose all of his limbs and just resorts to headbutting everything.
Incredible. So as you enter, the guards nod, and one of them says to you in Dwarven, says to you, what would he say? Something along the lines of, have a good experience, traveler.
Was that to me or Glanvar?
More specifically to you, as they seem to recognize you as a somewhat clerical figure. Considering that you do have the symbol of Thor and things like that.
Nod of my head and Thor bless you. And I go in.
Right. Inside the Saint Caves, these are caves, of course. They are large and snaking, and there are a lot of stalagmites, stalactites, and there's a lot of candles everywhere to illuminate the caves. There are also sort of the undead clergy that you've seen. So these are the sort of mummified undead with the masks in red garments, and most of them are carrying bells, censers, candles, that sort of thing, and they seem to be sort of patrolling the caves, sanctifying them. You can see in the Saint Caves all kinds of statues carved into the cave wall and also just set into the cave. And these depict a lot of figures that you are not very familiar with, who seem to be effectively saints of the dim north. But you also, every once in a while, run across deities that are foreign to this place, but also seem to have their little place of worship here.
Oh, that's cool. Do they have any names or dates or anything like that inscribed, or is it just the statue?
There are names. There are no dates specifically, but there are names.
Okay.
And these names generally... I wonder, actually, whether Necril uses the same alphabet as Common. Assuming that it does for a moment, these names are still all written in Necril, it seems.
Oh. Probably not any I recognize then.
Fyra, if you would roll me a perception, if you would.
Doing so.
All right.
Not bad.
All right. As you are exploring the caves, you see a particular branch, the entry archway of which has dwarven inscriptions on it, and there are symbols on the capstone that signify Odin, Thor, Freya, and most prominently Hel.
Well, that makes sense, I guess.
Mhm.
I mean, we all know our
Inside
civil history.
inside you can effectively find statues and places of worship for the dwarven gods.
Thyra's gonna take a little time.
All right. You see that there are bowls if you wish to make offerings of any kind.
Thyra probably pours out like a little half measure of ale and sets a acorn in the offering bowl, and then begins to regale the statue with the tale of the end of Return to Arbella, with fighting the half Hazro demon.
All right.
And it's that kind of boasting hero's tale. And
okay, cool. As you're telling this to the statue, you hear a voice beside you say, "Well, that's quite an impressive story." And as you turn, you see one of the clergy standing behind you, accompanied by some servants who seem to be sort of sweeping this area and keeping it clean. And she asks you, if I may ask, what exactly brought you here to our city?
Travel for business, just passing through. But well, if Thor's here, well, he's always here. But if there's a shrine, I might.
She nods and she says, "It's good to see that people are still devout, even in these times. In the city, the faith has been somewhat lacking recently. Your presence here does give me strength. My name is Mother Helen of the
Thyra.
congregation.
It's nice to meet you.
I have a little handout here.
Oh, so
where
she
you can see her
actually
as well.
isn't like a. Oh, is she a vampire, presumably?
She is a vampire.
I like a little hand thing, like the little. Oh, it's an incense burner.
Indeed. So yes, she as her servants are cleaning the statues, she puts her censer down and she says, "You are quite far from home, cleric of," and she takes a look at the statue that you've been speaking to, cleric of Thor. "I don't see many of your kind around here."
We're trying out a new thing. I'm a missionary. Spreading the good word and all that. Usually shouting it, if I'm being honest.
She chuckles at that. Yes, sometimes these days shouting is necessary. I used to know a lot of people in the abbey who also became missionaries themselves now that we have a settlement overseas. Of course, reception has mostly been commercial, but well, one does what one can for the faith.
You've settled overseas?
Yes, it's a colony, if you will. From what I hear, it's not very large, but there's certainly been a lot of commotion about it. New shops opening up with trade products and such. There's this strange something that they bring over from there. It's this black powder, and if you mix it with water, it's called coffee, and it's this sort of warm drink. It's too bitter for me, but there are many who drink it, and it's been spreading throughout Dim North quite quickly. Actually, no, she would have said throughout the provinces quite quickly.
I was gonna say that's what we call them.
Yeah.
Exactly. That I just made a little mistake there.
Huh. Coffee. I'll look into it, I guess. Okay.
I mean, Thara has had it before.
Has Thyra had coffee before?
Yeah, Polly
you
picked
have
up
had coffee.
the Michael flask of coffee in the Urchester Lodge. I think Polly gave her some in her booze.
Not to
I think.
mention that if you remember, there was a presence of coffee in Blayfield in the skeleton village of in Welcome to Ossenheim.
Ah.
I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Where actually is this colony then? Is it just sort of overseas?
It's an island somewhere, as far as you can tell from what she tells you about it.
Huh. Well, learn something new. Can I tell from, like, what she's wearing, I guess? Any symbols that she's wearing? Is she a priestess of a god, or is she just kind of a custodian?
She is definitely a priestess of a goddess, namely the goddess Sura, who is the main object of worship in the Dim North.
Huh.
However,
Well, makes sense.
if you actually roll me a knowledge religion about that.
Yay, I did it. Cleric. I did
okay.
it.
You, with an 8, this is the goddess that they worship here. You don't really know that much about the worship, only that the color red is generally the main color of the worship, and that white and silver are sort of the accessory colors. And you also know that by in Midland, theology, Sura is considered a demon lord.
Huh. Well, that's probably fine. Eventually, sort of, Thyra, she's been on, like, her knees as well, because she was, like, worshipping and stuff, but she sort of gets up with, like, a because she'd normally get up using her hammer for and she's gonna, like, nod her head and go find the rest.
Right.
Was everyone else here while that was happening?
I think that Sigmund is waiting outside.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know whether Dave and Glanvar are exploring other parts of the Saint Caves.
Yeah, Dave would have had a look around in the dwarven bit, probably like just while Thyra was starting, like regaling the story, and then he would have wandered off to sort of have a look at the rest of them. Because I figured like this kind of thing is where all the stupid knowledge bonuses come from. For him as a bard, he just learned stuff, so he's he'd learn religion,
sponging up knowledge. Could you also roll me a knowledge religion, actually?
Sure.
As you are passing through this area.
Shall I roll it, or should I take a 10? I'll roll it. There we go.
Alright, not bad. Not bad at all. Marginally better than if you had taken a 10.
Slightly better, indeed.
21, that would allow you to, deities here that are dwarven, as you've seen. You also see some that you associate with the orc tribes and the orc communities, both from more towards the south and towards the north and the mountainous areas.
Hmm. Are there any other
You-
demon lords around, or is it just Zura?
As you pass through, there is one shrine that you find that sort of makes you feel a little uneasy. And it displays 3 figures who are grouped together as seemingly a single entity of worship. One of them is a sort of sphinx-like creature, but the statue seems to be lacking a face. One of them is a sort of almost looks like 2 people joined at the hip, who are a man and a woman with sort of a golden sheen on them. And it seems that this statue was once probably covered in like gold leaf or something like that. And there is also a middle figure which has a humanoid body, but its head is something that you can't quite make out. It's a sort of waving, almost sort of like an upside down wave, a very bizarre thing, which seems to have been chiseled with immaculate detail to the symmetry of the whole thing. And as you read the inscriptions around here, there is one title which seems to describe these 3 entities, which is the Tridemonium, which seems to consist, as far as you can read the inscriptions, because some of them are in abyssal runes, which seems to be Abraxas, the middle figure,
Okay.
Ereshkigal, the Sphinx,
That's you.
Bless you.
and Hagenti, the sort of 2 figures joined together.
Okay.
With a 21, I would say that if you wanted to know more about like what these figures stand for, then you might.
Okay. Does it look like there's been much worship around this area? Like offerings and such?
No. This
No.
place seems reasonably abandoned.
Okay.
And it even seems as though like this is one that has been put here and isn't like carved into the wall. And
Okay.
you can tell that this area seems to even have been not very well maintained.
Okay.
As if the people who frequent, or rather the people who sort of do the cleaning and the custodians here also kind of try to avoid it.
Okay. And you said that the sort of the appearance and the energies freaked me out a bit. Did you say that?
It's not really an energy per se. It's more that the way that these figures are carved is like you wouldn't expect people to carve a religious and you know nice figure like this. They are very strange shapes, and yeah, just the whole appearance of it makes you a little uncomfortable.
Okay. So you said with a 21 that I might know something about these names.
Yes, you would.
Oh. What would that be?
I think that you would know that Abraxas, in general, is often portrayed as the enemy of Nethys.
All right.
Nethys being the god of magic, god of law, that sort of thing. Whereas Abraxas is often portrayed as the abuse of knowledge, as forbidden knowledge, and as paradoxes and contradictions.
Ah.
Ereshkigal, you don't know that much about because she's relatively minor, but you do know that she has something to do with riddles and doors. And Hagenti, as far as you know, is the demon lord of alchemy, of engineering, of weapons, and of war. And specifically warfare through technology.
Okay.
And altogether, these three all have a sort of knowledge component to them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Dave will just sort of view that and sort of think about, so that's these people. Not many, like, worship going on around here, and then probably just move on. He's not going to dwell there too long because it is just a bit weird.
Yeah, it's definitely like stuck into like some corner that isn't on the main path, and you just happen to come across it. It really doesn't seem to be like put anywhere where people would pass by it if they were on their regular tour of the local saints.
Yeah. He'll move on, have a look at some
Meanwhile,
others.
Sigmund, if you want to say something?
I was going to say that if Dave passes back by and he can see that Thor is having a conversation with this Mother Helen, then he'll probably just go back outside to hang out with Sigmund.
All right.
And so as Dave comes outside, he sees Sigmund with his arm around one of the riders and just catches the end of the rectum. Damn near killed him. As he's taking a swig from the Mace of Spades, and I'm imagining this shining rider just like eye twitching.
Yeah,
he's doing the kind of like Beefeater kind of cart move thing or whatever.
Yeah, they're sort of like the the royal guard at Buckingham Palace, so they don't seem to be moving a lot. But yeah, they are definitely like casting evil glances at you and casting sort of expressions at each other that betray, especially to you, Dave, because you can read this situation much better as you're, for one, sober. That these guys are definitely contemplating like removing Sigmund by force.
And as Dave appears, Sig takes his arm off one of them. Hey, Dave, how'd it go? How'd it go in there?
Fine. It's very interesting.
Any
Dave,
any saints?
Could you both roll me a sense motive at this point?
I will say that Dave probably would have been trying to sort of subconsciously usher Sigmund away from the pool guards. Maybe like if there's like a lookout over the rest of the fjord, then towards that. But sense motive, was it?
14.
Yay!
8.
I really need to use my perform sing because I can use that in place of sense motive. But
Oh, you
let's
can.
forget.
You can. Well then, if it's in the rules, you can definitely do it.
Okay then. Yay! That's much better.
Good. Yeah. Dave, Sigmund, I'm gonna put a little minus on that because you are drunk, assumedly.
Fair.
But you are getting the feeling that people are looking at you. Not only the guards, but also the people around. And Dave, you especially can tell that Sigmund has just committed what might be a severe taboo.
Uh-oh.
As people around him are sort of edging backwards, whispering to each other, and as you listen, you can sort of hear them whispering. "He touched it. Touched the shining rider."
I will.
That's some nice armor, by the way, guys. So
No,
yes.
that's hey Sigmund. Sigmund. Why don't we
Quality,
go?
like donk. That's good stuff.
Sigmund. Why don't we go to the gambling house, Sigmund?
Yes.
Oh. Great, let's go.
You hear the shining rider say something in Necril, which you don't understand.
No, that's one of the few that I don't know.
What it means? Well, no, you don't understand the words, but you do understand what it means.
Yeah.
Does it mean go away?
Probably a
It's
bit more
sort of-
vicious than that.
basically means bloody foreigners.
Tourists.
Or,
Okay.
well, especially more specifically, bloody Midlanders.
Yeah.
Bloody Midlanders, yeah.
Glanfar, how about you? Is there any specific location that you think you'd be visiting in the caves?
Well, Granval's not a religious person in the day. He's more wandering around because he's
That's-
sort of wandering around with a level of disinterest you'd see of someone walking around a museum.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that probably like maybe one of the clergy that are walking around there, like you pass by some of them like giving a reading to some devout followers about like these statues, like basically like guides of the Saint Caves. You pass by some of those, but I doubt that they particularly catch your interest, as you aren't really,
Religious.
affiliated with religious matters. I think
Pretty
that
much.
yeah, most of these things are, religious things. I think that you probably do recognize some like very minor shrines to traveling gods and like fortune gods that you know from your bandit times, that bandits used to tattoo on their arms and stuff and have on like their playing card backs.
He'd probably recognise some. So not because he's not religious doesn't mean the rest of his gang weren't. He recognise several, but he wouldn't. He'd just think, "Oh, that looks familiar." Not much of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder what. That explains that.
Yeah, I think that you definitely run into like things that remind you a bit of that past. All right, cool. So as you exit as well, I think this is just in time to see Dave ushering Sigmund away from the scene of the offense, if you will. And I don't know, Thyra, how long you are planning to sort of conduct your prayer.
I mean, it's more like, it's the climax of the story is what she actually goes through with Thor. It wasn't a super long conversation, but she as she's leaving, she Thor bless you, and heads out.
Yes, I think that definitely as you were telling it, Helen was, sort of having her undead clean around, but definitely keep sweeping even if all the dust was gone, because she sort of wanted to listen in on your story.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So as you exit as well, I think that Dave from the distance probably sort of beckons you to come as he's pushing Sigmund away to prevent further affront.
Hey guys, what are we doing?
We're leaving. That's what we're doing.
Pub.
Pub. Come on, Glanvar, you down for the pub?
Just gives his usual glare.
Oh yeah, because Clever doesn't drink, does he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Thyra is aware that was a goof. She elbows him. She's like, eh? Oh, hang on. Thyra picks up her shield from the wall and straps it onto her arm, and then picks up her, one of her throwing hammers and then puts it into her, and then another of her throwing hammers and she puts in, and then another of her throwing hammers and she puts in her, and then she picks up Sunbringer. All right, ready.
I guess we are going to the Ochre Conch then, which Dave is now regretting, but it's probably going to be too much of a hassle to try and back out of it now.
Right. So yeah, as you guys take the elevator back down, you approach the Ochre Conch gambling house. And this seems to be bigger than just one building. There is a pub, sort of a large pub, conjoined with a second building which is larger and has a sort of, medieval like casino look to it almost. It's like a big rectangular building with like the windows are all sort of in golden stained glass, and they have the oak, like the conch motif, all sort of made
Sorry,
into
cat
them.
hit my head at my boom.
I can't.
There are so there's a big like gambling house, sort of casino-like building. It seems actually that, contrary to most of the shops that you've visited, this place is very busy on daytime,
yeah.
because, as you know, daytime and nighttime are reversed in the dim north. So this place actually seems to be on rush hour at the moment, and the pub seems quite crowded. There is a short line to get into the casino building, and the casino building has sort of a big fancy entry with lots of like gilded appearances. This is definitely like, especially the casino building, and not so much pub building, is one of the more chic establishments that you've seen so far in this port city.
So it's quite this is quite a touristy kind of.
Not so much touristy. It's like this is on the border of like the low level. So you assume that, well, yeah, maybe it is touristy in the sense that like rich traders who are on large trips sort of pass by here, and then in the evening, as their ships are being restocked, they sort of come to the gambling house. It's touristy in a way that like an LA casino is touristy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool. Sigma will buy a round of drinks for everybody.
All right.
Yes, we are
Rock
going
up
in
to
then,
the bar.
Yeah. You are heading into like the pub building.
For starters, you'll try and keep an eye out for any like obviously like drunk merchants that you can maybe try and fleece later on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, as you come
is
into the pub, despite being less impressive than the casino, this is still like a very large and pretty fancy pub.
I will have put my magic sleeves on.
Yeah, cool.
Make my outfit fancy.
Cool. You can see that there is a big bar area, and actually in the middle of that bar area, which is so large that it actually fits a second elevated bar area in the middle of it, where you can see, and there are stairs to that place, where you can see like a vampire or two sitting, and the upper bar area seems to have more fancy drinks and serve the sort of more rich customers than the lower one.
That's the VIP area. Sigmund's seen. Maybe not recently. He's seen places. There's definitely places like that in Gralsberg. He is not allowed into many of them anymore. But I imagine even the kind of bottom area is still pretty nice.
Yeah. This is definitely a nice, like, well-rounded pub.
And I think since we're on holiday, Sigmund's going to buy a round of cocktails for anyone.
Right.
Why do you think we're on holiday?
Because he's been on a boat. Nice
What?
trip.
Like, maybe
You
like
were a mercenary for years.
Maybe like in Sigmund's mind,
It's
in his
Sigmund's
drunken mind, you're currently on holiday.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Sigmund's mind that is on
cover.
holiday at the moment.
He is. This is the cover story, right?
Mm.
It was, sort of.
Oh, that's true, actually.
It didn't have to go
True.
quite that
Your
deep.
story
But...
is a holiday to Sker.
I'm selling it.
Indeed.
In fact, Sigmund will loudly say, since we're on holiday, I'll cocktail.
All right.
Wink. How much will that be, Mon?
As you approach the bar, the bartender, who is a Dhampir, so not a vampire but a Dhampir, and has a sort of a very broad smile to it, and he has like a little pencil mustache. He's very Vincent Price looking. And he turns to you and he says, "Welcome to the Ochre Conch. What will it be for the gentleman?"
Well, I think I will have one of your Ochre Mocha cocktails. My friend Dave here will have a. Oh, you've got one for bards. A sax on the beach. That's very good. He'll have one of those. Thyra here will have. Well, if you got one that's got, yes, a Thor's might, and Glenvar here will have a glass.
Have a what?
A glass of water. Actually, he'll have one of the. He'll have one of the mocktails.
You know he won't.
Does Glenvar not even have mocktail?
I think that, you know, mocktails might be a little too frivolous for someone like Glenvar, but
Aw.
oh well.
Not even a sax on the beach with the reed broken?
A virgin sax on the beach.
Nice.
All right. So yeah, as so the barman takes your order and snips his fingers, and almost like a barbershop quartet, 4 undead sort of step out of almost like coffins, but they're not really coffins. They're more like ornate sarcophagi, which seem to be there just for like show to keep the servants in. They step out and they have golden or gilded at least masks with like the conch symbol engraved on them, and they are wearing like bartender outfits, and they start making your mocktails.
Okay, I have to be honest, sir. This is far too fancy. This is. You actually signal aside to Thor. Do you ever get the impression it's too upmarket for us?
Yeah.
No,
this
I'm a
point,
pretty
the
classy
bartender,
lady. I don't know why
is-
you've got an impression otherwise.
As he's doing like some math, you can almost see like dollar signs in his eyes.
Okay.
Not
If you
not so much
spend the
from you,
entire funds on
but
this.
just generally sort of from the general like sales that he's doing at the moment, because you know there's a lot of traffic. And yeah, he slides you your cocktails and your glass of water, or at least whatever it is that Sigmund.
Can it at least have a fancy umbrella in the glass of water?
Yeah, it does. It has like a little umbrella in the glass of water.
Is it like a tiny paper version of the matching umbrellas that the Shining Guard had earlier?
No, I think that this one has sort of like a yellow color and has like on top of the like the stick, there's like a little wooden like conch symbol put on there. So everything seems very well branded into like the whole Golden Conch franchise, almost, if you will.
It's very on brand. Just spend a lot on marketing.
Yeah.
Did I get a full-size cocktail, or did I get a halfling-size cocktail? This is
Got
an
a full
important
size.
distinction.
You got a full size
you,
cocktail.
you didn't specify, so you definitely got a
Uh-oh.
full-sized cocktail.
How strong is a sax on the beach?
I think it's probably got about like 4 shots in it.
That sounds like
In
a
like
lot.
a big kind of slightly larger than pint-sized glass. And there's some like coloured sugar around the rim of it. It's like one of these more goblet-shaped glasses with some sugar around the lip, and there's probably about 4 shots in it. Rum-based, I think it is. Maybe a little bit of milk in there, a bit of Kahlua. Yeah.
The straw, because they have like metal sort of straws here, has like a saxophone shape.
I will say, if it's got a straw and it's, it's a pint, Dave's gonna have to put it on his lap and not supposed to drink out of it. He can't be able to reach it from the table.
All right. How much of that are you drinking, Dave?
I don't know. I feel like Dave. It might not have occurred to Dave exactly how alcoholic it is. I'm not sure he's ever really had a cocktail before. This is gonna be like
knowledge.
a beer.
Actually, no.
Bearing in mind,
wisdom.
I was gonna say, bearing in mind, I've got a -1 in wisdom here, but.
Yeah, roll wisdom to see how. Okay, 9.
It could be worse.
No, you're not very great at interpreting like how much of this reasonably highly alcoholic drink you can take. So roll me a fortitude save.
I'm sorry, Dave.
No, this is the kind of thing that would happen to Dave. He's got -1 in Wiz, and he is the equivalent of a 17-year-old boy. He's never had a cocktail before and thinks, oh, like, I've had a pint of beer before, it'll be the same thing, right? No. Fortitude, right?
Yes.
Eh.
Oh, buddy.
That's a fail, I'm afraid. Okay. Yeah, Dave, you are a bit woozy. In fact, more than a bit. And you feel quite boisterous.
Woo!
And
beach sacks.
And yeah, there's a lot of sort of commotion going around. Maybe you're interested in sort of. I think that at this pub there is like, on the height level of the second bar area, there's like a almost suspended platform with a person playing piano. And you might, you might be interested in joining the music if you want to. All of these are things that might occur to you in your current state.
I think that depends on what everyone else is doing. Like what we're talking about, or if Dave gets up and stands on the table, someone's going to get him to get back down again.
Sigmund's kind of looking up at this kind of... How high up is this thing with the piano?
Pretty high up.
Okay, too far to throw, Dave?
Don't throw the Dave.
It's like on the second story.
Okay, too high to throw, Dave. Okay.
I mean, you could try, depending how drunk you are.
It's a story up.
Yeah, it's a story.
You could try.
I don't think it's quite at that level yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how drunk Sigmund is.
Sigmund's not super. Sigmund can handle his alcohol. So he's just kind of just going through, and he's having a good time. Has he spotted anyone that's looks like other than David looks super drunk and is a trader, because he's also a mercenary and a Von Beck.
That's true.
Like an ex-mercenary of Von Beck. Like he knows, even though he likes to drink himself, he knows that sometimes you get some people who are overconfident on their gambling ability. Also, how much did this round cost me? I just realized.
Okay, so that round that you just dropped, I'm gonna take a quick look at that. That is probably actually the bartender at least is going to say to you, okay, so you want to pay now, but I could put it on your tab if you want. I mean, you can stay here as long as you like.
Yeah, stay for ages. Says Dave.
Yes, we are gonna stay hard. Because I think Sigmund's been around enough drink houses to know that it's generally best not to let your tab go up. So he's gonna pay for this round now, and inquire as to where you buy.
That is gonna be 3 gold then, and 1 copper for the glass of water.
Oh,
okay, sure.
Tap water should be free.
Is that what Dave says? Is that in character?
Yeah, sure.
It's one of those places where they put like a single cucumber slice in the glass of water or whatever, so it's like it's no longer free.
Yeah, like the bartender says, "Oh, come on, if you want free water, then you go to the water well. If you want water like this, if you want pure water, if you want water with your cocktail, then you come here, all right?"
It did have an umbrella in it.
It does have an umbrella in it. Okay, yeah. So as you, Sigmund, roll me a perception and a sense motive as you survey the crowd to divine if anyone might fall prey to your scheme of getting yourself tickets into the gambling house.
Well, that's certainly something.
Okay.
Bounce out, maybe.
So that's a very good perception and a very bad sense motive.
So we see someone, but it's the wrong person that he hones in on.
This is probably someone who is better at gambling than Sigmund thinks. Not an easy mark.
Yeah, I think that you definitely see a let me just I'm just quickly putting on some fitting music. All right. Yeah. You.
Is it the Cantina song? It should be the Cantina song.
Oh, it would be great if it was the Cantina song. But I've sort of put like big band.
That is, to be fair, what I was. I have a friend like me from Aladdin in my head, and to be fair, that is the right kind of sound.
Something like that, yeah. Okay. You see two potential targets, Sigmund. You see a gentleman who is wearing a sort of opera mask, almost like a full face covering, like Venetian mask, and otherwise he's dressed in like mercantile clothing. You can tell from his ears and the part of him that's not covered that he's probably a Dampier, but you know that there are kinds of Dampier who have a really sort of malformed appearance, almost like the ancient-born Dampiers.
Has he tried using a dehumidifier?
A dehumidifier? I'm sorry.
If he's damp. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm not catching on quite.
Any English speakers, they'll understand. Any proper, well, yes, native English speakers will probably understand my joke.
Faintly.
Because Dampier, like damp, like wet, like dehumidifier.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yes.
I'll shut up now.
Joke, but I didn't quite catch it. So you see this Dampier trader with his mask on, and yeah, he looks fancy.
Is he at a table? Because we want to have someone that's already at a table.
Yeah, he's already at a table, and he's playing with like some friends, it seems. And you know, your sense motive is low, so it doesn't really occur to you that this guy might be playing cards in the pub because he couldn't get into the gambling house in the first place. And also you see a woman who is pretty tall and who seems to be elvish, and she is sort of also mercantile, is wearing a lot of rings, and she is just leaving, and she is sort of waving her tickets to the gambling house as she's holding some in front of the faces of like some of her less fortunate friends as she is going.
I think for the sense motive check, I'm going to have to go with the opera mask guy. And I think the plan here, like to Sigmund's mind, is like, oh ho ho, an easy mark right here, eh? So what his basic plan is, and he's going to be sort of explaining this to Dave, saying, so I'm going to go there. I'm going to pretend to be more drunk than I actually am, and then I'm going to go all in on the bet when he thinks I'm bluffing, but I won't be bluffing. So that's the plan. And yes, this is pretty much the plan.
Okay.
Basically, try and get him to think that I'm bluffing when I'm not.
Right. Okay. So you sit down, and you they seem quite ready to let you join their game. Could you roll me a let's see what kind of skills we actually have at our disposal for this kind of thing. Could you roll me
if you're bluff probably would
Bluff,
be the right one.
please.
Yeah.
For now.
And my stake is going to be 50 gold pieces. That's because we don't need to go into like all the different rolls for everything.
Yeah, no,
that's approximately what I'm going in with.
Yeah.
We can see what's up. All right, so let's
Okay,
see
so
how
roll
this
a
goes.
bluff at first to see how these guys sort of react to your demeanor.
Not bad.
That's a
Not
17.
bad.
So you've got them fooled, as
Mhm.
far as you can tell.
Okay.
You've got these guys fooled. They think you're like some stupid drunk who's hanging around.
Well,
Yeah.
that's also probably quite true as well.
I can sell that. I can sell that. It's fine.
But they think like, okay, this guy is just like, this guy's too poor for the gambling house. He's just coming to blow his money here. We're gonna, rip this guy off, go home with an extra 50 gold.
Okay.
And as you start playing, could you roll me a sense motive
Yeah.
for the other contenders? And could you also roll me a 1d10, which is going to determine the quality of your hand?
Yeah, because I've got to wait for a good hand to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going to be playing like tight aggressive, so I am going to be waiting for a good hand to come
Okay.
in. But like I'll be playing a bit bullish early on because you've got to play opposite the table. So you've got to
Well, I have to say, surely you should make rolls to see if you can be goaded, avoid being goaded by the why is he folding early?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'm going to try and bully some people off some early pots, and then I'm just going to kind of go tight aggressive and like kind of go in. Yeah, I'll try and lose a medium pot and then win a big end pot, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so your hands haven't been too great, and you have a hard time telling how these other guys are playing, because especially the man in the mask is hard to define, because, well, for one, he's wearing a mask.
I Sigmund and myself did not realize this, so I'm gonna like Sigmund's
so this guy has the ultimate poker
judgment.
face.
Yeah,
and he's also playing quite erratically, so it's hard to sort of get a grip on how exactly or what exactly he's doing.
Yeah.
Could you also roll me a quick perception, please?
Sure.
And he is also going to roll something for that. Okay, that's an 18. Let's see what this guy rolls. Okay. So as you're playing, your hands haven't been too great, but as you're going, you see that as this guy is, having his cards in his hands, shuffling them around, you see one of them you see almost like a glint pass over it as he's shuffling them around.
Oh, this guy. Like, have I seen something like this before? Like, this is presumably him
yes,
cheating.
in fact, you have.
Has Napoleon done this before?
Because you have seen Napoleon use the spell Card Trick. And this sort of quick glint is something similar, as you see this glint, this slight glow from like the inside of his hands as you see him slide one of his normal cards into his sleeve.
Okay, so
because, as you know, Card Trick produces a new card.
Yeah. So, Sigmund's going to order. Ooh, Sigmund's going to get up. I'll just have a quick toilet break because he's had a couple of beers, and he's just going to mention to Dave as he comes past. He says, "If you can get Thyra on my signal to cast a Dispel Magic on that man."
Where is Thyra? Isn't Thyra here? Like, isn't she like right next to us?
No, Thyra has been at the bar unsuccessfully flirting all evening.
Unsuccessfully? Oh no, that means Dave's unsupervised. Oh god.
Oh no.
Okay.
Glanvar's still here.
Yeah, Glanvar can be doing
but I
it.
feel like
or Glanvar is wingmanning for Thyra, which is potentially better.
Glanvar would never wingman for Thyra.
I just feel like
I
Glanvar
cannot
wouldn't. Glanvar would just watch Dave do stupid things. I don't feel like he would stop Dave from doing
That's a
stupid
good
things.
question. Of the two things, which is Glanvar more likely to do?
he's probably more likely to try and stop Dave from breaking his neck.
Yeah, Dave is definitely
Probably
like,
a good one.
standing on tables.
Yeah.
Dancing, probably.
Glanvar, I think, could you roll me a quick perception as you're going?
A perception, yes.
Yes. Could you please confirm a perception?
Perception,
for me?
yes.
All right, and
My power
What?
activated.
Perception confirmed.
Jesus, bloody hell! Amazing.
I
Very
like my macro texts.
power move. I love it. So yeah, as you're going, you hear like from like the back of the bar, you see a couple of dwarves that are sitting there, and they have sort of spotted you, and they've seen sort of the tattoos on your face.
Uh-oh.
They're kind of hard to miss.
Yeah, and
Face, arms,
and one of them,
any
they
part
seem-
that's actually visible.
yeah, they seem quite drunk, and one of them shouts to you, "Hi, big boy, how do you get out of the slammer? Hey, you break out?" And they are shouting sort of slightly incriminating things at you.
Is Glanvar still with, like,
And,
or near to Dave?
Yeah, and they are all sort of all right. An 18, that's quite good.
He doesn't seem. He's not phased currently.
Yeah, but if
Alright.
Dave is
I'm
there
rolling
and
that
hears
because
that,
he will. There will be a point where he probably will be phased, and I want to, and we'll play that.
bar fight.
Till then.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. In the meantime, Fyra, how are you reacting to Sigmund's request?
Oh, what did Sigmund request of me? I was distracted.
On his signal, cast spell magic on that guy.
Thyra is like in the middle of showing like a random lady like her deeply unimpressive ticket to the gun show. Like she's trying to like show off her biceps and she just doesn't really have them very much. So like eventually she's caught, her attention is caught enough to be like, one moment, and the girl like walks away as Thyra wanders over.
Look, buddy, okay? I'll wingman you for you after we get finished here, okay? But
Okay.
we're
What are we doing?
What are we doing is that, well, that asshole there, I'm off pretending to take a toilet break, but that asshole over there is cheating, and I need you to cast a spell magic on him. Well, on my signal, when I go all in, you need to cast a spell magic on him subtly, and he'll lose, and then we'll get lots of money, and then I'll wingman for you. How's that sound?
Okay, I mean, I'm a little uncertain as to the whole subtlety part, but, you know, I'll give it a go.
Yep.
Give it the old college try. All right, buddy?
Give it the old cleric school. Ow, why did you chest bump me? You're like 4 times my height, you bastard.
Okay, no, I just got excited. All right, cool. Okay, so this Sigmund's now across the table, and he's gonna go up to 100. This is now his plan because this
Up
is
to
how
100
Sigmund-
gold.
Yeah, and he's gonna go all in on 100 gold. See if he can
Okay.
get him in there.
Yeah, these guys are looking, you know, quite, you know, uncertain. What are those golds?
I'm over.
And for a moment, the man in the mask hesitates, but he calls. So he's going to call your bet.
Okay, with his, and I'm assuming I've noticed him doing the cheaty card at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so I assume he's got jank. Like the card's going to disappear, and he's going to be screwed. So, yeah, we'll turn him over, and I'll give the signal, which is a bit of a double finger guns, as I've discussed with Fyra.
All right. Does anyone remember how Dispel Magic works?
I think that it doesn't really matter because it's not a very high-level spell. It's a cantrip that the man is casting. So, as long as you say that you do cast it, then I think the effects will be quite enough.
Then, yeah, I cast it.
Okay,
So
cool.
Shall I do Sleight of Hand or something?
You can, but I think that the attention is focused enough on the card game that they are not really paying attention to you.
Oh, okay, sweet. Well, then I'll just dispel the magic, and I do it
Right.
like
Yeah.
I just like tap myself on the chest, but I catch the sort of hanging hammer of Thor.
Cool. So, Sigmund, as you put your hand down, this masked Dampier.
I think this is like a medium hand, just like 3 9s or something like that.
Yeah. And he says, well, that's not too bad, but I'm afraid that I'm going to have to. And as he like extends his hand, like one of the cards just poof, just disappears into smoke. And all of the table is suddenly like really quiet.
And Sig just
and you can see like 2 little beady eyes like behind the mask, sort of very nervously like look to the sides. I think I'm going to take a quick toilet break, gentlemen. I don't seem to be feeling so good. But as he gets up, like the other guys also get up and like hold him back into his chair and tell him, "Now, what exactly do you think you were doing?" And he looks very nervous. He's sort of fidgeting with his hands, which you can see are gloved. And he says, "Well, it's just it's a little parlor trick, nothing more, nothing less. Well, you know what, gentlemen? How about I buy you this round, eh?"
Sigrid is already scooping the gold, by the way.
Yeah, and like with pained eyes, this guy is watching like his gold be grabbed by this drunk.
Yeah.
But at this point, he's got bigger things to worry about. Because,
oh,
like,
he does. He
yeah,
does.
like the other players are not looking happy, and one of them actually makes like a hand signal, and you see some other people like getting up from their things, and this guy is looking very, very anxious, and he says, "Oh, well, look at the time. It's the moon is almost up. Gentlemen, I think I'll have to be going. My carriage is waiting." So, and he like claps his hands twice, and he suddenly disappears into purple smoke.
Okay, wow. I think just before if I could,
I'm sorry.
If I could get like a line in just before he goes away, like Sigmund kind of like drunken facade, like drops for a second. He catches him in the eyes, and just like, "Have you never heard? Never bet against a Von Beck when there's gold on the line." And then starts.
And yeah,
not a catchy line.
I've got to work on that. No,
he moves away, and suddenly like everyone starts shouting and starts calling, "Where is that bugger? Get outside! Where's it gone? What's that smell? Everyone know?"
Wait. You guys, can I use my Pearl of Power to regain my use of Dispel Magic?
Yes.
I do that.
Okay. Yeah, you can. Okay.
Thyra is like in the background of the shot when Sigmund's there, and she just takes a sip of her cocktail, which is in like a cosmopolitan glass, despite pretty clearly having like mead in it or whatever. And she just snaps her fingers with the other, and just
I think that normally, if this guy was aware of you casting against him, I'd have you roll concentration or something like that. But you're basically like stealth dispelling him. So yeah, he sort of claps his hands and like puffs of purple smoke come off them, but he doesn't actually disappear.
Oh no! Oh
no! And yeah, you like the guys from the other table have sort of come to this area at this point, and he says, "Drinks on me, gentlemen," as they all just grab him and start pummeling down on him with their fists.
And Sigmund's away from the table at this point, like whistling a jaunty tune. I take it that's 100. That's 100 gold he's made.
100 gold you've earned.
That is woohoo! So he buys for every, as promised. We'll attempt to wingman for fire.
Yeah. At this point, there's like a bit of a bar fight breaking out, and like you see the guys just sort of hammering down on this man, and you can see like most of them are pretty drunk as well, and you can see like some of the bar hands trying to intervene, but it's not really working out.
Dave is trying to join in.
Dave is gonna try to join in.
Yes! Yes!
Right.
I'm gonna
Dave,
wrestle. Yeah.
Roll me a strength.
That's gonna go well. Is it -4 or is it -3? I always forget.
And also roll me a reflex save.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Okay.
And a reflex save.
That's not bad.
That's...
Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dave fucking wins.
Yeah, like they are beating this guy up. Are you going for that guy as well? Or are you just like starting an all-around bar fight?
I don't know. I just feel like Dave is gonna go, yeah, fighting, and then sort of go to the nearest.
Yeah,
person
you
that
sort
is,
of
someone that is involved in the fight, but isn't the guy being kicked.
Oh
probably,
yeah.
like headbutts him in the crotch or something
Right.
like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he probably would. And this guy just and he goes down.
Woo!
And one of his buddies goes like, "What the bloody hell? What's this gnome doing there? Kick him down!" And with that reflex save, you actually manage to avoid the blows that were thrown in your direction. But the bar fight is escalating, and the barman behind the counter is very worried and is angrily pressing a button behind the bar.
Sigmund's like so... Sigmund's just like, yeah! Have we noticed this button being pressed at this point?
You roll me a perception. Any
Okay.
of you. Glanva, how are you reacting to this?
What are the chances the person that Dave headbutted was one of the people that was sassing Glanvar earlier?
I don't think that those
No, they were
dwarves would have
dwarves.
joined in just
Oh,
yet.
okay.
They just
Cool.
they're sort of sleazing in the corner. You know those
assume
guys.
I have a
Just
negative.
sort of yelling out stuff. Okay.
Wow.
So
Yeah, so Dave and Thyra, you have definitely noticed this button being pressed.
Thyra
Simon,
is
not
sat
so
at the
much
bar,
as you're
so
sort
yeah.
of caught up in all of this. And Glanva, what is going on your end?
in terms of, am I still being heckled or?
No, just in terms of how you're reacting to basically your teammates, or two of your teammates, one of which Dave, starting a bar fight.
I didn't start
in like
the bar
a pretty
fight.
in like a pretty fancy establishment.
Dave didn't start the bar fight.
He didn't.
He didn't. He did join in though.
He did join in.
Love it.
What's I gonna do?
You've certainly noticed like the bartender like angrily pressing like a security button.
He's probably just going to.
Continue drinking. Nothing's happening.
He's gonna what? What's that? Sorry?
Continue drinking his water as though nothing's happened.
Mm. Actually,
Oh, he-
Anvar, I think. Oh, was there something you wanted to say?
No, go on.
As you are sitting and drinking your water, you are looking sort of through this fight, and you see something in like the doorway of the bar, and you see the face of Montbec sort of go slack
Oh dear.
as he seems
In
to
that
come
case-
running to find you guys and is now sort of surveying the scene.
Oh
In that
no,
case,
poor
he-
one back.
in that case, he was because he's sitting there with his feet up on the table with his glass of water. He raises it as if to say cheers, and then just sit and then goes to sipping his water again.
All right. Yeah,
Oh,
Montbec.
not
Montbec,
getting
you need
involved.
more friends. You need more people to rely on Montbec. This was a bad idea on your part. You've only got yourself to blame. Oh.
Guys, what the fuck? Come
gonna
on,
fight!
get out of here before they call security.
Oh, they already did. We should definitely be leaving.
Okay, yeah, we
You
better
can see
we
like
better bounce.
Montbec is freaking out.
Okay, let's head.
Thyra just run for the door, trying to scoop Dave up as she does that.
Yeah, someone
Oh
needs
yeah,
to pick up Dave for the collar.
Sigmund's got a similar plan as well. Dave scoopage.
Oh,
Alright.
okay. We have Dave like between us.
Yep.
One arm each is on Dave.
Mhm. Okay, as you are leaving the establishment with Montbec, who is still sort of trying to process what you guys have just been doing. You see, like, from the casino building, like 6 or 7 like really big burly like Dampier guys, and probably like 2 gals as well with like serious guns, sort of hustling their way towards.
Well, like guns as in muscles, or guns as in actual guns?
No, not actual guns, like guns as in muscles.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah, like strutting quickly towards the pub area. And as they pass, you hear a crash as you see like an opera mask being tossed like through a window. And yeah, you hear like commotion as these security guards enter and start sort of trying to break up whatever is going on in there as you quickly make your way away. And you notice that it's sort of starting to become dusk outside.
Oh yes, that's a point. When was it we needed to get back to the boat?
Now, run.
Okay.
Yeah, back to now, immediately.
Off we go.
Yeah.
So, how was your day, Montbec?
Well, it was good. Okay.
Have you been to the caves of the Sage? We went there, and it was a lovely day out. I would heartily
I'm
recommend.
sure it was. Okay, let's just get back to the boat and leave.
Oh, we should probably get Dave a glass of water as well.
I was in a fight, Montbec. I was in a fight. It was cool.
How old are you?
19.
Well, I'm 53. Oh yeah, he's a literal child. No offense.
Montbec sort of.
Oh, come on, Montbec. You must remember you. And Sigmund claps him on the back with perhaps a little bit too much force. You remember your.
Yeah, Montbec sort of stumbles and like, oh.
But listen, this is great cover. No one's ever going to suspect us as we get out of here. We're going to be distracted with this cover. And we made 100 gold pieces. That's not too bad.
Montbec is sort of. Okay, that's fine. That's good.
And strictly speaking, we didn't start this bar fight. I was planning on getting kicked out for entirely different reasons than violence.
That's reassuring, Sigmund. How nice. And at this point, yeah, he is ushering you towards the docks again. And I think that you guys have, after a while, probably made it to the boat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And as you come back to the boat, you see that there are like less people on the boat. Right? You see that the 2 dwarven merchants have left, and with their goods, because this was their final stop. And any other like people that were also on the boat have also gone.
Oh no,
you. You don't know about Pate.
Okay.
Because he didn't really have like big goods or anything with him, so he might still be in his cabin. Who knows?
Who knows?
And you, as you arrive to the boat, you can see the captain and his cartographer sort of waiting, and Montbec sort of goes in front of you and motions for you to scram on as he starts explaining and making excuses to the captain. And I think that was probably it for this night, or well, day actually.
Yeah.
Everything's getting a little muddled in my head because of the time switch in the Dil North, or at least the schedule switch. But yeah, it's dusk. The captain is looking at Montbec with like raised eyebrows, and as Montbec is sort of trying to explain about like the fight and like everything like that, and the captain sort of shakes his head in disapproval, but Sigmund, as you pass, you can see him sort of quickly looking to the side at you and giving you like a wink.
Yeah. Sigurd returns like,
Yeah.
like
Are you still carrying Dave, or did you put Dave down?
Dave is on. I think Dave is on Sigmund's shoulders at this point.
Okay.
I think we're in double height mode.
And Toast is then on Dave's shoulders, so it's
Yes.
stack. PATHCO stack.
Right. Yeah, so the Montbec is sort of doing that. I think you guys, if you want to do anything else on the ship, you can. Otherwise, I would say that you guys will probably head towards your sleeping quarters.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Someone definitely needs to put Dave down, and then let
Yeah.
him sober up.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you guys go to bed after this rowdy day, and yeah, after a while, just before you go to sleep, you can sort of feel the ship leaving port as it starts sort of, moving about more strongly. You hear like some faint music from the shores ebb away. You hear like the bells of town criers disappear, and you fall asleep
Like a ghost.
like ghosts. I'm gonna need a couple of rolls. First of all, from Dave, I would like a fortitude.
Yeah, that's fair.
14, that's decent.
Could be a lot worse.
You have like, you don't feel too well during the night. You're not like hungover to the sense that I'll actually give you like debuffs or anything.
I just feel kind of grody.
But you are sort of not in a great state.
Yeah. I've been
Sigmund,
better.
could you roll me a will save?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Actually, because you are drunk, it's... Oh, well, it doesn't even matter that it's with disadvantage, because that's a fail anyway.
Okay.
As you go to sleep, you sort of dream about general things. You have like some woozy dreams about the bar fight, maybe a little reminiscence, but then the dream suddenly becomes a bit more clear, and you are met again with like the band music from the bar, but you're hearing it almost as though you're underwater, so it's sort of blurred. And where you are right now is a pub-like place, but everything's sort of off. The bar stools are all different heights. The glass, like the bottles behind the counter, don't seem to be actual bottles, but it's like a big glass structure that sort of resembles bottles vaguely.
Okay.
So it's almost as if your vision isn't warped by being drunk, but rather the pub itself looks physically changed into like the vision of a drunken person.
Yeah, okay, I get you. It's just off kilter.
Yeah, everything is sort of off kilter, and it also everything looks as though you're underwater, but everything has like a golden sheen to it. So it's almost as if you're under mead, if you will.
I see.
And there are like glasses and things like that floating in this pub area, and
like Sigurd will grab a glass that's floating by him and like scoop up some of the water around him and try and drink it from the glass.
Yeah. You can try that, but it's like air pours out of the glass instead of any liquid. So it's just bubbles that are coming out of the glass, and you try to sort of bite or swallow these things. Every other patron of this pub, as you now notice, is seemingly made of glass. They are sort of glass humanoid figures, which seem to be moving somewhat, but not very much. However, there are two people here, or rather two appearances, that you recognize. Duchess of Liquor Cream and the Duke of Broken Cups.
Indeed.
And the Duchess is the is actually the barista, and is pouring out drinks with a usual depressed attitude, and the Duke is holding up his cup, but of course all the drinks are going straight through it.
Oh, hey, Duke, how's it going?
Oh, hey, Sigmund. How have you been, buddy? Hey, wouldn't you mind pouring me a drink? I just seem to be losing it all the time. I mean,
Hey, no, I got something for you, actually. It's like patting around because he bought that very strong cup.
Indeed.
I'm assuming via dream logic, it's presumably.
Yeah, you can pull it out.
Try this. Cost me well, it wasn't particularly expensive, but it was the best I could get on short notice. Try this.
That's so very kind of you. Thank you, Sigmund. I'll try it out right away. He grabs this cup or mug or whatever it is, and as he does so, he talks to you and, I really appreciate the effort that you're making for me. And as he is talking to you, like almost independently, his hand raises the cup, smashes it onto a bar tap, so that a big hole is cracked into the bottom of the cup, and he extends it out to keep drinking. But the Duchess is continually pouring him like very creamy, like liquor, and he's trying to get it. So, but Sigmund, I think you've given me a cup with a hole in it, my friend. Say, you wouldn't really be interested in maybe taking my position, because you also seem to have a bit of expertise when it comes to broken cups, doesn't he, Duchess? The Duchess is sort of like the side of her head is on the counter at this point, and she's just sort of
Madame Duchess, I
What's
tried.
the matter with you?
I tried drinking Bailey's out of a shoe, and I must say, I think it loses something in the flavor department. A little bit tangy for my taste.
Maybe. Well, I think you just haven't done it enough, have you? Oh, but well, there's no matter. You can try it plenty of times. Life is long enough, well, to do worthless things. When you actually try to do something of worth, it's just way too short, and then you're trying to get your life together, and before you know it, you're dead, and then, well, what do you do then, Sigmund?
Haunt a weird mead glass bar thing, apparently.
That's exactly what you do. Because you've got nothing better to do. And the Duke sort of comes in at this point. Oh, don't listen to her. She's just nagging on like always. Why don't you pour me another drink, Sigmund? And he extends his broken cup to you.
Actually, Duke, I think I'm gonna let you handle that one yourself. I think I'm gonna. It's starting to get a little bit like, this is a bit strange. Like, it's starting to sink in a little bit. Like, this is a very weird kind of scenario.
You're not gonna pour it, you say? That'll be a spoil, Sigmund. You know you enjoy this as much as we do, don't you? Duchess says you, after all, if you can't drink with your friends, what is there to like? You're Sigmund. Nothing but bad memories to keep you awake. And she suddenly like
that is true.
As she says that, you see that her tongue suddenly takes, like, instead of a normal tongue, like a forked appearance. She says, "Isn't that right?"
Oh, that's unpleasant. I'd quite like to wake up now.
So why don't you just stay with us? Here you can just reminisce about how bad it all is, and the Duke says, and you can just pour the drink and forget about all of it. And you see that at this point, the Duke's eyes also sort of have like, they don't look like normal eyes, but they have sort of a reptilian, almost troglodyte-ish look to them.
Okay, Sigmund is
starting. Roll a will save.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to volunteer to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how this is going. oh no! I double hit it. The first one has to end. 7.
7. Okay, yeah. You do wake up, but before you do, he says, "Yeah, you go ahead and wake up." And suddenly his voice sort of becomes more clear and says, "You wouldn't want to be sleeping on the job, would you?" And at that point, you suddenly jolt upright in your bed.
Ooh, that was a dick move.
That's a hammock, so it probably falls out.
Yeah, he absolutely falls out. Who was he on the top or the bottom?
Thyra's underneath him.
Yeah.
Oh god! Splang!
Yeah.
He does have his armor knocked, so at least that's.
That's true.
Thyra is like half in her armor, and she goes Oh, you son of a bitch! Oh my god! Oh, Thor! You okay there, big? Is that a no?
I'm feeling very anxious.
Okay, just in general, or?
Well, yes, and also, Yeah, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'll catch you in a bit. I need some fresh air.
You want some company?
Maybe? I don't know, Farah.
Thyra follows after him anyway. And she naturally has, she has about half of her armor on, only the bottom half. And she's got her hammer over her shoulders anyway, just because, you know. And what? So we just walk the ship?
I think Sigmund's just kind of over the side. What's the kind of what's the kind of area around the ship? The outer coast.
At the moment, I will actually show it to you on the map.
Ooh.
You are around. Actually, let me quickly take out something that I prepared earlier. You're around.
Hey.
There we go. I'm gonna make that drawing quickly. You are around here.
We're making pretty good progress.
What?
Yeah.
That's
We're
a pretty neat tool.
2/3 of the way there.
It's a pretty
Nice.
neat tool you got there, Mon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh,
and now it's broken.
accidental scroll. Accidental scroll.
Good go.
Okay,
Good job.
never mind.
Oh, it was all going so well.
It was
It
all.
was.
It was all going so well for once. It was all going so well. Oh well. So yeah. At this point, you can see the coast, Sigmund, in the night. You've passed the rocky area of the mountains of Dim North, and what you're seeing now is mostly still rocky coasts, and sort of pebble beaches, and sort of grasslands, misty grasslands that are extending behind that. And as you are outside, you notice that it is significant. It is quite cold here. Definitely notice that you've been going up north.
Some kind of wraps, shook. He's maybe he's still got his blanket wrapped around him because he's kind of legs out. Just kind of shrugs that around his shoulders. And, I think he's still got his locket on, and he's kind of he's looking out towards the kind of coast. And he just kind of flicks it open and just kind of looks at it, and you see, the pictures that we just scrolled for, and just closes it, and he's just kind of like. I miss him so much, Thara. He just starts shaking his head, and a tear comes down, and I was remembering, there was this stupid thing we used to do, like date, like not the first time we slept together. No, that was way before. But our first date, like we went to see this play. Like there was a character into this like wandering farmer. I don't really remember too much about it. I'd kind of had a few pints at the time, but he reminded me of Michael, and like he had this kind of stupid accent, and like ever since then, like I just keep remembering just like this, like the weird in jokes you have, like him talking in this stupid accent, and and just going on walks and just being around. It's just, I'm fucked up, Farah. I'm really, I don't know. I don't know. And he just kind of like, his head goes down and like he's just kind of crying at this point.
Thyra has like a gauntlet on his like, probably like his lower back. She can't really reach terribly high. And she's just kind of looking over the banister next to him for a while. You know, we're all kind of fucked up. I don't know. I'm here if you need to talk about it. You're doing good. If I know we give you shit for the, the Arbello stuff, but
I really dropped the ball on that one, didn't I?
No. If you hadn't been there and we hadn't been there, that horrible fucking thing could have killed. Just saying.
Yeah, it wasn't my fault, was it? The original Arbello you said about Vlad, that wasn't like a lie, was it?
I'm not going to fucking lie about.
Yeah, but how sometimes you know something, but there's still a part of you that tells you the opposite, and like it's wrong, but it's also really persuasive.
Yeah, definitely.
And he just kind of shakes his head, and it's just like, well, I guess maybe there's space for change in people. I mean, Dave really kicked the shit out of that guy tonight, right?
He really did.
He really did.
We should go cooking bacon. We should go cooking bacon.
He's gonna have a bad time.
He's going to have such a bad time.
Then
I don't think he's being hungover before.
No, I just realised children have me. That's for future signals, I think.
Yeah, that guy's a dick. Leave it to him.
Yeah. Guy Sigmund just kind of pats her. I'm sorry we had to book it before I could wingman for you. I owe you one.
It's fine. I was mostly just getting drunk whilst also having light entertainment. It was pretty... Is there anyone else actually, like, on the deck at this point, by the way?
No.
Okay, wonderful. Because that would have been a really awkward time for the Banjo Man to be there. I no longer remember anyone's name in the...
If he's still on the ship, he's not here.
Huh. I'm gonna go to the galley and start frying bacon.
Yeah, I think that's seen at that point.
It is
the middle of the night, isn't it?
Night at this point.
Like
Thyra isn't a good, like, parental figure. She's cooking bacon.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. As you come into the kitchen, you sort of enter, and as you open it, like suddenly something turns, and could you roll me a fortitude save, please?
Oh shit!
Oh
Aveline. It's gonna be Aveline, I bet. Which
Okay, yeah.
Egg feels bad about.
You quickly
Dave's
avert
too
your
dark.
eyes as this very bright light suddenly shines towards you in the kitchen as you open the door, and you hear sort of a voice saying, oh shit," and she and the light suddenly sort of scurries away and disappears through another door of the gallantry.
Sorry, hello? Thyra's like shading her eyes and like calling out and just being very inelegant.
She's gone at this point.
I mean, Thyra's like now noted the time, but makes herself a midnight bacon sandwich regardless.
Yeah, with like
and probably also one for Sigmund.
As you light the lantern in there, you can see that whoever just passed by dropped what seems to be like a medieval like Frosty Flakes box, which she seems to have just been eating out of.
Oh, me. Was that actually Aveline?
Yeah, that was Aveline.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't think. I was wondering if they were like secret twins or whatever.
No.
Save that one. You know, that's a gift from me to you.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah, I think that's it for Sigmund for the 90s.
You can definitely make this thing.
Yeah, I make a bacon sandwich for me, and a bacon sandwich for Sigmund, and a bacon sandwich for Dave. And then I just put the other twos next to their ham.
Oh no.
Like,
could you roll me a perception at this point? Yeah, Eli power. All right, 27. Yeah, you like as you're sleeping, like the sort of the smell of like bacon meets your nose, of all things in this ship, and you sort of turn in your sleep, and yeah, like your dreams for just like a short moment become like oddly like bacon influenced, as you roll around in your hammock.
Is Glanville vegetarian?
I don't know. Are you?
No.
Huh. I think I just extended out the booze thing to be like everything. In my mind, I think he might have been vegan.
No, right.
No,
I think he's just straight edge, so to speak.
Huh.
He's just boring.
All right. So yeah, you guys have your bacon sandwich at night, Dave. If you want, you can roll a perception or something, or a will save to wake up. Or maybe if Fire wakes you up for this bacon sandwich, I don't know.
No, she like puts it down like next to his hammock.
All right. All right, that's a 19. That's pretty high.
Probably.
Thyra, are you actively trying to not wake Dave up?
Yeah, but not like stealthing with a capital S. She's just trying to be quiet and isn't in full play armor for a change.
Yeah, I think, Dave, that you, like, for a moment, you sort of wake up a little, and you can see Thyra putting this thing next to you. I'm not sure how interested you are in a bacon sandwich right now.
Would I still be feeling, like, sick or something like that? I don't know how being hungover works. I don't drink.
Yeah, a bit. You are, like...
Yeah.
Middle of the night, you're not in the greatest of states.
I tend to get like that when I am kind of hungover though. Like I'm like, oh, I feel pretty sick, and then I eat some fast food, and then I feel better.
Bit the old stodge.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's a halfling, but I don't know. He might fall asleep again. There'll be a nice surprise for him tomorrow morning.
Okay. So as the morning comes and as the bell is rung for breakfast, you guys sort of wake up. Dave, you find a cold bacon sandwich next to your bed.
He's gonna eat it. He doesn't care. Free sandwich.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you can definitely have that. I think you don't need to roll anything for that. That's fine. I think a pretty solid bacon sandwich. And yeah, so the breakfast bell is rung. I don't know if you guys are interested in going to breakfast or not?
Yes,
Sigmund
obviously.
finds the sandwich bar. He actually probably had it prepared, but
I'm sorry?
I said Sigmund probably had his bacon sandwich. Went a bit later, so he would have found it and then eaten it in bed.
Right.
And then he'll have something in the morning, I think, as well.
Right.
Like he's feeling a bit better. Like,
all right, that's good. What about you, Glenn? Are you interested in the breakfast that the ship is offering?
Yeah, I can go peruse.
So as you come to breakfast, you see that there are a lot less people on this ship right now. There's the captain. There's his cartographer, the orc. There is his wife, and otherwise, there is just Montbec and what's her name? Rosemary.
Yeah.
So yeah, the entourage has shrunk thoroughly. And as you are having breakfast, the door swings open and you're suddenly met with like a pretty strong like stench as this strange like dog-like creature, this wolverine, waddles into the mess hall, and Pate, like in his sort of shirt, just waddles in as well and sits down. Oh, Charles, had a bad night, Captain. How are you? How are you holding up? How are we doing? We nearly there yet? The captain is sort of holding, like everyone pretty much is holding like their hand over their nose because of the stench of the wolverine. And they're like sort of throwing Pate some bad looks. But Captain says, we're almost a drop off. Think we'll probably be there in an hour or so. You know, it's pretty weird, Pate, that you're coming this way. You didn't tell me when we left off that you were going to go to what you say, Blackwater. Pate says, "Oh yeah, well, you see, I wasn't originally planning to, but there's this. Captain, have you ever heard of like animal magnetism? Sort of like a pull of fate. Have you ever heard about that?" And the captain sort of rolls his eyes and says, "Certainly read about it. Stupid stories." And Pate says, "Well, it's something like that, really. Just as we came close to this area, there's a pull, you know. There's like I had a friend who was a druid, and he'd talk about these places of power, and he'd talk about ley lines and how they influence sort of the draw towards the animal spirits. And I think I must be feeling that. I think I must be feeling it." And the captain says, "Suit yourself, as long as you pay me." And yeah, so you've overheard a little conversation between Pate and the captain there. As time passes, you guys have arrived where I've pointed on the map.
Yep.
Sort of along the coast side here. The ship has been moving this away. And you are at the end point. You are sort of getting after still, a decent amount of like ship travel, which passes relatively quietly. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that while like after breakfast and stuff, Dave would have wanted to go and find Aveline, but that's going to be too long an RP considering it's 9. So.
Yeah.
Oh, bright lights and the hangover is not going to go.
Yeah, like at this point with the ship, you are approaching this side of the land, as you can see, and you are on the northernmost side of a river. And Captain says to you, we can go over like stuff with Aveline later, but just wrapping this up as you are arriving with the boat. The captain says, "Well, this is the end point of the River Sare. That's where I'll be dropping you off if you want to go to Blackwater. We're gonna start unloading that carriage just about now. But yeah, my back's been paying me, so this concludes our journey. If you want to go towards Blackwater, I don't have a map, but well, it's not very hard to tell." And he points into the distance, and you can see from here, in like the stretches of distance, you can it's reasonably flat land. Like there's some hills, there's like hill area, but there's no mountains or anything. And you can see in the distance towards the horizon a black line going up. What seems to be like, you've seen this from volcanoes, but you're pretty sure that there aren't any here. But there seems to be sort of a smoke line going up into the air. And that's where it is. Blackwater. You know, been there once. 10, 20 years ago, mind. I wasn't at ease in that place. Used to be called Blackwater because of the squid in the river Sare run through it. It's, you know, making a little ink like they do. Used to be caught there. Now, the name's even more appropriate. And he points towards the river's outflow into the sea. And you can see that the river has sort of a dark, sort of slaggish color almost. And he says, "Now, when it comes out of that city, the river is pitch black with ash, slag and coal waste. They say it snows salt and pepper in Blackwater, on account of the soot coming down with the snow. Smoke coming from that city, call it the Plume of Progress. Well, to me, looks like an ash column straight out of an angry volcano. And I think that as you are leaving the ship and entering the last section of your journey towards Blackwater, we are going to end the session here.
Okay.
Okay. Good progress. And yes, apparently there's a glitch on the chat in the stream.
Oh,
Egg?
really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Suddenly it all
how-
suddenly popped up. Gosh, that was weird.
Oh. Well, that's a bit weird.
That is weird.
But oh well.
Sorry, Hellhounds. That's not my fault. I didn't realise.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate piece of business, but, well, what can you do?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
But yes, thank you as always for joining,
Yes, very
joining
good
us.
session. Really
Yeah,
good,
good guy.
like, character moments, really cool bar scene, which is, you know, something that every roleplay, every, like, Dungeons and Dragons group should have.
Golden
Good
dice for Dave
Golden
or
dice.
Sigmund.
I'm going to go for Dave. I think
I
Dave.
think I would certainly agree that Dave, just going in, deserves the golden dice.
Thank you. I would argue you say give it to Sigmund, but that would then bring me up to 10 golden dice. Finally reached my goal.
Yes, you have. Now you can finally
Jesus
start
Christ, how
spending
many-
like a sane person.
Yeah, maybe next time. Maybe next time.
Right, good game, you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, good game.
Have a
Okay.
good time.
Yeah, good to be back on 18, and hopefully we should
Yeah.
around.
Hopefully we can do it a bit more frequently. But-
Yeah, I mean, about that, I'm away for potentially the next 2 weekends, but aside from that,
right.
Yeah, not this weekend, but the weekend after.
Probably not weekends only, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
work
think
out.
this has worked quite well today, actually.
It doesn't work.
We'll sort things out on the map. Or the map, the calendar.
We'll sort things out on the calendar.
The time map that is a calendar.
Yes.
The time map.
Time map.
Time map.
That is the kind of thing I would say.
Time
Yeah.
map.
Anyway, let's
Right.
say goodbye to the stream.
Goodbye to the
stream.
Bye,
Bye, stream.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Thanks,
Bye.
Thank everyone for playing. Thank Mon for running.